In the name of Allah, the most beneficent, the most merciful. We're excited to welcome all of you to Azad Trusts. We broadcast legal and social awareness through Park Law Guide and support souls. Before we dive into our exciting new topic today, I want to remind you to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to click that bell icon. So, without further ado, let's jump right into today's exciting topic. Sunni Law of Inheritance. Synopsis. The Sunni law of inheritance is a foundational aspect of Islamic jurisprudence, derived primarily from the Quran and elaborated upon in the Hadith literature. It establishes specific guidelines for the distribution of a deceased person's estate among heirs, ensuring fairness and equity while upholding familial responsibilities. This research explores the principles, rules, and application of Sunni inheritance law, highlighting its significance in Islamic legal tradition and its practical implications for Muslims. Introduction. In Islamic jurisprudence, the law of inheritance, Ilm al-Faraidi, holds profound importance as it regulates the distribution of wealth after a person's death according to religious principles. The primary objectives of these laws are to ensure fairness, maintain family cohesion, and uphold social justice within the community. The principle of inheritance deals with the passing of or transfer of property from person to person based on a relationship. The Muslims are divided into two main sects known as Sunnis and Shias. The Sunnis are further divided into four subsects: the Hanafis, the Maliks, the Shafis, the Hanbalis. Explanation. What is heritable property? What is left, after deducting the following items from the property left by a Muslim on his death, is the heritable property, and it is this property that devolves to the heirs. The following items are as follows: funerals expenses, debts, will, dower if not paid, inheritance. Principles and application. Islamic jurisprudence, fiqh, developed detailed rules and methodologies, usul al-fiqh, to interpret and apply these Quranic provisions. The system categorizes heirs into primary, aba, and residual, dhawu al-fara'idi, heirs, with each category entitled to specific shares as prescribed by the Quran. The process involves several steps. 1. Identifying heirs, determining the existence and eligibility of heirs based on their relation to the deceased. 2. Calculating shares, applying the fixed portions to calculate the exact share of each heir. 3. Distribution sequences, following a specific order in distribution, prioritizing primary heirs before residual ones. 4. Special cases, addressing scenarios involving exceptional circumstances such as debts, bequests, wasiya, and the inclusion of non-Muslim heirs. The overarching principle guiding these rules is fairness and equity, ensuring that the distribution process is transparent and just, respecting the rights of both the deceased and the heirs involved. Classes of heirs under Sunni law. The Hanafi jurists divided heirs into 7 classes, the 3 principal and 4 subsidiary classes. The 3 principal classes are as follows. 1. Quranic heirs or sharers, dhawul furud. The Quran deals very exhaustively with the law relating to inheritance, and the first class of heirs consists of certain close relations of the deceased to whom a specific share is allotted in the Quran. They are known as Quranic heirs. The share is derived from fractional shares fixed by the Holy Quran. These fractions are in the 6 numbers: a quarter, 1/8, 2/3, 1/3, and 1/6. Shares are the highest sense of obligatory, that is farida. 12 Quranic heirs include 4 men and 8 women. Father, grandfather, husband, uterine brother, uterine sister, wife, daughter, son's daughter, full sister, consanguine sister, mother, paternal or maternal grandmother. 2. Residuary or agnatic heirs, asbat. Agnatic heirs are the second class of heirs after shares and known as asbat, rendered as near male agnates. The term residuary implies that a fractional share is taken out of the estate and the remaining portion is left to this class of heirs. The shares of the residuary are not fixed. Further, the residuary have been divided into 4 groups: ascendants, descendants, descendants of father, descendants of father's father how high soever. The rules of shares residuary. Rule 1. Each preceding residuary excludes all the succeeding residuary. Rule 2. When there is a female residuary taking with a male, the male takes double of female's shares. Rule 3. The only female residuary are daughter, son's daughter, full sister, and consanguine sister. 3. Uterine heirs or distant kindred, zawul arham. All persons related to the deceased by blood, whether male or female, are uterine or distant kindred, except those who are in the Quranic heirs or residuary. The distant kinsman would succeed only in the case where there are no shares or residuary, as they are excluded by shares or residuary. There is an exception to this rule is if an only heir is the husband or wife, they would not exclude distant kindred from inheriting. The rule regarding shares of uterine heirs are as follows. Rule 1. The first class of distant kindred excludes the second. Rule 2. The nearer in degree excludes the more remote. Rule 3. As amongst the member of the same class and the same degree, the children of shares and residuary are preferred to those of distant kindred. Rule 4. Subject above rules, a male takes the double of a female. Exclusion under Sunni law of inheritance. Grounds for exclusion are as follows: homicide, illegitimacy, slavery, difference of religion, difference of allegiance, estoppels in succession, escheat. 1. Homicide. Under Hanafi's law, a person who causes the death of a person is not entitled to inherit the property of that person, no matter whether the death was caused intentionally or by accident. 2. Illegitimacy. Under Sunni law, an illegitimate child or person is not entitled to his father's property and is disqualified from inheriting, but the illegitimate child is entitled to the mother's property. 3. Difference of religion. Under Islamic law, a non-Muslim could not inherit from a Muslim, but the Caste Disabilities Removal Act of 1850 does away in India with exclusion from inheritance from a deceased Muslim on the ground of mere difference of religion, whether due to apostasy or otherwise. 4. Difference of allegiance. With the end of Muslim rule India, this ground of exclusion lost its significance. 5. Estoppels in succession. A person who first denies his relationship with the propositors cannot be allowed subsequently to turn his back and claim inheritance when succession opens. 6. Escheat. Where a Muslim who died and he has no legal heir under his law, his properties are inherited by government through the process of escheat. The state is viewed as a definitive heir of deceased persons. Quranic foundation. The foundation of Sunni inheritance law is laid out in several key Quranic verses, most notably in Surah An-Nisa, verse 11 and 12, which delineate the shares of various heirs. Allah commands you regarding your children, the share of the male will be twice that of the female. If you leave only 2 or more females, their share is 2/3 of the estate. But if there is only 1 female, her share will be 1/2. Each parent is entitled to 1/6 if you leave offspring. But if you are childless and your parents are the only heirs, then your mother will receive 1/3. But if you leave siblings, then your mother will receive 1/6, after the fulfillment of bequests and debts. Be fair to your parents and children, as you do not fully know who is more beneficial to you. 6. This is an obligation from Allah. Surely Allah is all-knowing, all-wise. Surah An-Nisa, verse 11. You will inherit half of what your wives leave if they are childless. But if they have children, then your share is one-fourth of the estate after the fulfillment of bequests and debts. And your wives will inherit one-fourth of what you leave if you are childless. But if you have children, then your wives will receive one-eighth of your estate after the fulfillment of bequests and debts. And if a man or a woman leaves neither parents nor children but only a brother or a sister from their mother's side, they will each inherit one-sixth. But if they are more than one, they all will share one-third of the estate one after the fulfillment of bequests and debts without harm to the heirs. To this is a commandment from Allah. And Allah is all-knowing, most forbearing. Surah An-Nisa, verse 12. These verses establish fixed portions for different categories of heirs, including spouses, parents, children, and siblings, ensuring that each receives a rightful share based on their degree of relation to the deceased. The shares are determined by clear mathematical ratios prescribed in the Quran. Conclusion: the Sunni law of inheritance exemplifies Islamic principles of fairness, justice, and familial responsibility. It serves as a testament to the Quranic emphasis on maintaining social cohesion and economic stability within Muslim communities. By adhering to these laws, Muslims uphold their religious obligations while fostering harmonious familial relationships and societal well-being. Despite the complexities involved in its application, the inheritance system remains a cornerstone of Islamic legal tradition, continually adapting to modern legal frameworks while preserving its core principles. References: Quran, Surah An-Nisa, verse 11 to 12. Islamic Jurisprudence by Imran Ehsan Khan Niazi. The Islamic Law of Inheritance by Hamid Khan. https://lexpeeps. In Sunni Law of Inheritance. D. F. Mullah, Principles of Mohammedan Law. So, dear fellows, that wraps up our discussion on today's topic. We hope you found it informative and helpful. Remember, your support means the world to us, and we promise to continue providing you with comprehensive legal guidance in our future videos. Remember us in your prayers for success and prosperity on this journey. Thank you for being a part of our community. Allah Hafiz. Pakistan Jindabad.